What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Deep Rhythm, and we're back with another video. We got a special video for y'all today, and we want to talk about the transitions in this video on the Deep Rhythm channel. We're going to talk about the transitions. So when we talk about transitions, this is our ability to transition from one outlet to the next outlet, right? So in the sense to where if we're playing basketball, right, you know what I'm saying? Like basketball is an example we have. We talk about transitions because it's like, as you talk about, being able to transition, transitioning can take place in many different forms, whether it's basketball with cool downs, wax off, or other methods. When you have a sort of, base form of structuring or functioning, you have to have some sort of method of being able to, make the transition possible, right? Because it's one thing to have many different sort of workout or exercises you want to get through, or even a training regime that you want to be able to get through. But it's another thing to be able to make that transition from, be able to make transitions from certain workouts or certain exercises to other exercises or outlets. So the first thing we want to talk about in regards to the transitions is going to be basketball, right? The concept of basketball. So when you look at basketball, right, and the concept of basketball, we look at how in the game of basketball, when you really look at it, basketball is just a game that you sort of play, and the transitioning on the basketball court is like playing good defense, right? I always want to use this analogy of being able to play good defense to make your transition, because if you can play good defense on a basketball court and hold your man in front of you and be able to disrupt the offense and sort of get pass deflections and always be at the right spot at the right time in order to disrupt, the offense, be able to create ripple effects or methods or ways of being able to disrupt the offense by always having the right, always being or always applying the right leverages at the right time in order to always be there, and always be able to get in the way. So that's the transitions on a basketball concept or defense wise. And, if you can do that, right, let's play good defense, you can then create turnovers. You can create turnovers and you can create you can create bad shot selections, and you can sort of create ripple effects or loopholes within the offense that you can sort of take advantage of and strike from, or that you can sort of just disorient the offense with by taking advantage of and control over those ripple effects and capitalizing off of them. And even in the midst of capitalizing off them, it's just being able to, run the floor, being able to space the floor, and it's being able to really make your mark and hit your points on transition, score, and being able to hit your key points in transition, right? So that way you can score a bucket, right? And make the right plays, right? So that's going to be the last point, is just making the right play in transition with high intensity, right? After you steal the ball, or after you create the turnover or bad shot selection, is just being able to capitalize on defense, or capitalize on offense in transition and make the best play, as best as you can with high intensity, right? Hitting the points you need to. So that is the basketball concept of transitions. And when we really talk about the transitions, we want to be able to apply that and understand, like, this is the same thing when it comes to a workout regime or building a training regime or following through a training regime, or even getting in and out of certain exercises in a training regime or workouts within a training regime, or even just getting out of certain outlets in general, right? From transitioning from, one outlet to the next outlet. You know what I'm saying? Is this basketball concept is good. So if I try my best and I give it my best and I hit all the correct leverages and I'm applying all of the right leverages at the right time, I then create, moments and opportunities and situations where I can then become, be in transition and then like best capitalize in transition, because the offense is most off guard, in transition when you initiate a turnover, right? Or even a bad shot selection. So, that's what creates a fast break, right? So, when in terms of being able to conceptualize that, or kind of cognitively sort of translate that to you know cooldowns, or just or translate that to the aspect of training regimes and outlets transitioning, is going to be your ability to make your mark in the outlet that you're in, and then being able to transition from that outlet, after you've made your mark there, into the next outlet, right? So to and another important thing, in this regard, with outlets, is going to be cooldowns, in terms of transitioning, right? So the other thing about cooldowns that we want to go ahead and mention is that when dealing with cooldowns, when talking about cooldowns, it's important to know that as a this is something we're going to go on in a deep art channel, but I want to touch on this right now because the opportunity presents itself, right? So muscle, talking about transition, it's muscle cross application in terms of just like your position, your muscles and joints, in terms of when you get into an exercise and how that exercise transitions to the next outlet that you do, right? And just how it makes and how it affects the next workout that you do, right? Which can vary, right? So the other thing we wanted to talk about, right, is cooldowns. So when we talk about cooldowns, this is another form of transition, right? And cooldowns is basically your what you do is your ability to regulate your body after a workout or an exercise. So in terms of being able to do this, you have to sort of understand that when you're doing this, or when you're able to do this, then it's like you can regulate your body, and sort of put your body at a more closer state of homeostasis. That way you can sort of then go into a next outlet or into another environment in a more calm state, right? And you're coming down from this outlet that you were just in high intensity and working out, right? So as a basketball player or as an athlete, you want to implement cooldowns from after workouts, right? And the nature and the purpose of a cooldown is so that you can sort of regulate your muscles, regulate your blood levels, regulate your sort of tension, the tension, and sort of just regulate the body after an intense workout or after an exercise, right, or after exercises. So that's the nature of cooldowns. Grabbing resistance bands and stretching. That would be an example of a cooldown. Stretching with resistance bands. Exercises that you do within exercise that you do, or reps or sets that you do within an exercise. that are, sort of body regulating, sort of like you're coming down to a regular state of body, which would be a cool down, like on a bike or on a treadmill. You run on the treadmill, you walk for the last 2 or 3 minutes, or 5 or 7 minutes or 8 minutes. This is cool down. Same thing with the bike. So, these are your cooldowns, and just being able to do these cooldowns right here, this is what will allow you to be able to transition your body into more of a state of homeostasis. That way, when you get into the next function or outlet that you do, you can come at it, with a more sort of leveled head, right, or leveled space, right, frame. So, the last topic we want to talk about, after actually, I do want to say one more thing about cooldowns is that with cooldowns, these right here are very important, and I do believe that these can sort of be be used as a method of trying to regulate your body in different ways. We want to talk about cooldowns on a neurological sense in the next video that we make on deep art, because I think that's a powerful point. Being able to have visuals in terms of visually being able to cool down, because visually being able to cool down in the sense to where, like, you're visually in an outlet, and you can sort of cool down your mind with the proper visuals or in conceptualizations. That way, it's your central nervous system is getting cooled down along with your peripheral nervous system, because I do believe that if you don't cool down your visual state in terms of the visuals, in terms of from within the high intensity environment that you're in, your central nervous system might still be in a hyperactive state of that environment, and a hyperactive state of high intensity and high intensity exercise and high intensity outlet in terms of where you were. So that's another important thing. And I also believe that visual cooldowns, if they don't happen, can lead to you be transitioning from one environment to the next environment in a hyperactive state of where you just were, of the of intensity, right, from the environment you were in. So visual cooldowns are important. I believe they're very, 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 very important, like especially even transitioning from high intensity environment to a more civil environment or civil structured, a more like, calm civil environment, right? So with that being said, I have one more point I want to make, and then we're going to conclude this video. It's going to be your ability to wax off, right? So your ability to wax off is very important, I believe, because when we talk about wax off, right? So wax off is basically, say, like, just as we said with the visuals, right? It's being able to transition from one high intensity outlet to another outlet, but implementing more so visuals, I'll say, was what a wax off. For example, Michael Jordan. I want to use Michael Jordan as an example, right? Because Michael Jordan, he always played golf after he hooped, right? It was always high intensity basketball, hooping, you know what I'm saying, working out, and just everything, just 1000% high intensity, everything, right? From muscle, strength and physical strength, and to basketball, and then his offset would be golf, right? And this is a wax off, because it's like, now that your body is not in a state of like super high intensity, your mind can sort of stay in a focused state of intensity while while your body is in a regulated state, you know what I'm saying, or in a mild state of tension, a mild state of activity. It's not too much activity, but it's not enough to where it's like, you've just completely collapsed in a state of rest. It's sort of a bridge, right? To where you don't have to come all the way down, or, make such a wide gap transition from, such high intensity to just, to something much lesser, right? So it's a good bridge, and to sort of keep you at a state of keep you at a state of homeostasis, visually, because as you play, you have to focus your visuals so keenly on, trying to accurately hit the ball, as close as you can get, as close as you can to the green. And it's the same thing if you were playing something like pool. It's the same thing. I mean, you have to focus on aim. And you're in a relaxed state of body, but at the same time you're in a intensity. You're in high intensity focus. So I believe these are great cooldowns. Video games, I'll say as well. I believe it's a great cooldown, especially if it's like a competitive video game. I think that's a great cooldown as well from high intensity, muscle exercise, because it keeps your brain at a high intensity while your body's in a relaxed state. And I think these are very, very crucial in terms of, sort of regulating your body and keeping your body regulated in a state of homeostasis, and just management of your body, period. Right. But anyway, I think I'm going to conclude this video right here. To sum it all up, I think that these are very crucial in terms of transitions, because that's what this is about. It's about being able to transition transition yourself and your body from one state or one outlet to the next outlet, from one exercise to the next exercise, from one movement to the next movement, right? So I think all these are important, and, facts, or just, sort of points to kind of break down when we talk about transitions. And peace, love, and that's going to conclude this joint.